The 10 best WWE Raw moments ever. Number 10. The corporate ministry's higher power is revealed. In the world of WWE, few factions were as large or as dominating as the corporate ministry. A lot of that was based upon the fact that it was two factions that had merged into one. The corporation was created by the McMahon family and included superstars who had sold out to be paid well and given opportunities above the rest of the roster. The Ministry of Darkness was led by The Undertaker, who used his dark, sinister powers to try and destroy anyone who stood in his way. The Ministry converted superstars to the dark side and often tried to sacrifice superstars for their own dark enjoyments. It didn't seem like Raw was big enough for the two strong factions, but it seemed to do just fine when the two merged together, forming the corporate ministry. The business sense of the corporate aspect, as well as the dark intentions of the former ministry, made for a unique stable with unusually similar tasks. One of them seemed to be against Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mr. McMahon, who had separated himself from the corporation some time beforehand. With his daughter Stephanie being the object that The Undertaker sought after, McMahon and Austin banded together to take out the huge group. The group spoke of a higher power that led both groups together in the merger. The higher power was revealed to be none other than Vince McMahon himself, looking to destroy Stone Cold all along. It was such an incredible swerve, and a perfect example for how crazy storylines can get in the WWE, especially during the Attitude Era. Number 9. The ECW invasion of Raw. WWE rarely ever mentions any other wrestling companies other than themselves, and during the Monday Night Wars they never wanted to mention WCW. However, this was different in 1997, when a struggling WWE used a cult following for Extreme Championship Wrestling to make their broadcasts more interesting. ECW signs would pop up at WWE events, so WWE used that to their advantage. In a swap of sorts, cross-promotion for WWE and ECW began in the late 1990s. Jerry the King Lawler showed displeasure for the ECW signs, naming the brand extremely crappy wrestling, and challenged them to come on to WWE programming to showcase what they had. They did just that, and it was a taste for what was to come. This was before the WWE had begun the Attitude Era, and it was before anyone knew who Taz or the Dudley Boys were. This showed the world all about what ECW was, and helped ECW expose themselves to new audiences. WWE would adopt a lot of ECW style following this, but it sure led to a cool comparison between the two companies at the time. Number 8. DX invades WCW territory. Speaking of invasions and WWE taking extreme measures, few made for more extreme measures than D-Generation X causing a scene at a WCW event. WWE was in Hampton, Virginia, while WCW was in nearby Norfolk. DX manned themselves with military gear, along with a tank, and went en route to the WCW event. When they got there, WCW fans outside ate up the DX act. Fans came around the WWE faction and began to turn against WCW. There were acknowledgements of WCW sucking, as well as a claim that some fans were given free tickets to help fill up the arena. This claim led to a lawsuit that never came to fruition, but it did not stop DX in that moment from trying to get free tickets at the box office. Unsuccessful in that attempt, DX then tried to get themselves directly into the backstage area of WCW, but had the doors closed on them. Eric Bischoff has stated in interviews that he was very upset at the stunt, and the first great firing shot was taken in the Monday Night Wars that night. Number 7. Nexus invades Raw. Continuing with invasions, the Nexus consisted of the 8 rookies from the original NXT series. Wade Barrett won this season and a spot on the WWE roster. However, the other 7 rookies had uncertain futures attached to them. In an angle that went unspoiled, Wade Barrett showed up on Monday Night Raw following his NXT victory. What happened next shocked an immense amount of fans. The other 7 former NXT rookies appeared in the crowd, jumped over the guardrail and attacked the Straight Edge Society. The 8 men then surrounded the ring. came in simultaneously and attacked John Cena. 8 men took down the mighty Cena, then decided to destroy the ring. The layers of the ring were exposed, as well as the ropes being broken off and the ringside area being trashed. The ringside crew were attacked as well, including ring announcer Justin Roberts being choked with his own necktie by Daniel Bryan, a scene that would have Bryan fired for a short amount of time. The attack made for a great debut in Impact for the Nexus, who could not continue the same momentum in their existence, mostly due to poor booking. Still, that moment lives on as a night where it became cool to watch professional wrestling on a mainstream level again. It left many parents upset with the product, but it ultimately shook things up, which is always a great thing. Number 6. Stone Cold Steve Austin's beer truck. The Texas Rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin does whatever the hell he feels like doing. The most famous example is that Austin drinks beer in the ring on a regular basis, technically drinking on the job. He also likes to make Vince McMahon's life a living hell. Austin got to do just that on the Raw prior to WrestleMania 15. With Shane and Vince McMahon in the ring alongside The Rock, Austin's music hit and out came a gigantic beer truck. The truck was actually so large that it took down signs, and actually the Titantron nearly came down on the truck as well. It was shocking enough to see the beer truck in the arena, but even more unbelievable when a hose was introduced and the three were being sprayed down by beer from the truck. Stone Cold was a man who connected with so many people in such an incredible way. Any person back then would just love to spray their boss with a beer hose. Austin actually got to do that. It was an unforgettable moment done right before forgettable WrestleMania, but it was still a fantastic moment. Number 5. Mike Tyson and Stone Cold Steve Austin face off. Mike Tyson was once one of the most controversial figures in sports, fresh off being banned from boxing for biting Evander Holyfield's ear. In the meantime, Stone Cold Steve Austin had risen as the anti-hero in WWE. The profane rebel who flipped off authority had just won the 1998 Royal Rumble. The earth shook when the world's toughest SOB came face to face with the baddest man on the planet. As Vince McMahon brought out special guest Iron Mike Tyson on Monday Night Raw, the Texas Rattlesnake soon got in the ring to tell Tyson that he'd kick the boxer's ass, and after a bit of shoving he proved his own words, with the two trying to fight each other in a mass brawl. Vince McMahon was furious, and Tyson aligned himself with Shawn Michaels and D-Generation X in the build-up to WrestleMania 14, and the feud helped shoot Austin to superstardom, with unprecedented amounts of press covering the event and participants involved. At WrestleMania, Tyson would be named as special guest enforcer, eventually turning on Michaels to help Austin become world champion, and held the Rattlesnake's arm aloft at the end of the match. Number 4. Mankind hosts This Is Your Life for The Rock. It was one of the highest rated segments in the history of Monday Night Raw. Mankind, feeling guilty for accidentally attacking The Rock the night before at Unforgiven 1999, presented The Rock with an unforgettable series of gifts. It was The Rock This Is Your Life, and the fans absolutely loved it. The People's Champion, however, didn't appreciate it as much. Mankind brought The Rock to the ring to show him his home economics teacher, his high school football coach, and his high school sweetheart. The Rock always seemed to have a problem with each of these people. His teacher wouldn't let him make pancakes, his coach made him run sprints, and his girlfriend cut him off at second base. And so in a last-ditch effort, Mankind opened up gifts, which had Rock and Sock Connection jackets, and a Mr. Socko version for The Rock, referred to as Mr. Rocco. Still not pleased, The Rock then saw Yerple the Clown come out and sing happy birthday to The Rock as a cake was rolled down to the ring. The Rock then said it wasn't his birthday, and a nearly 20-minute segment was ended with the insertion of Triple H. This is still one of the greatest comedic segments in the program's history. Number 3. CM Punk's Pipe Bomb. With just weeks before his WWE career could very well have been over, CM Punk delivered a spirited speech at the conclusion of an episode of Raw Roulette. As Punk came out to the entrance ramp wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt, he distracted John Cena, allowing R-Truth to pick up the win in a tables match. Punk then grabbed a microphone and sat down on the ramp. Nobody was out of bounds for Punk, as he mentioned Mr. McMahon, The Rock and John Laurinaitis by name. He brought up a number of names including Ring of Honor, Colt Cabana and Paul Heyman as well. He stated how he was being overlooked and how the fans' voices were being ignored, while WWE had their favourites and refused to put him in the WWE signature or on any collector's cut sold in merchandise. Punk stated how he was the best wrestler in the world, not John Cena, and how he should be the #1 guy in the company and not fall for the WWE propaganda machine. Soon after, Punk would become WWE Champion in a historic match at Money in the Bank 2011. The aftermath of this saw Punk shoot into superstardom, with one of the longest WWE title reigns in modern history, forging iconic rivalries, and sparking interest in the product that hadn't been seen in years. The ripple effects of this pipe bomb were still felt to this day. Number 2. Shane McMahon buys WCW. WCW was struggling after being blown away in the Monday Night Wars. We then found out in 2001 that WCW was being sold. The buyer was none other than WWE. Vince McMahon had now owned his competition. As the final episode of WCW Nitro went on, WWE teased all night long about what Mr. McMahon would do with the product. As the episode of Monday Night Raw ended, Vince McMahon came to the ring with the intention of ending WCW and not letting any of their stars come into WWE. Suddenly, Shane McMahon, the son of Mr. McMahon, and his WrestleMania 17 opponent the following Sunday, would appear on WCW turf. Shane would then announce that he was the one who signed the contract and now owned WCW, not his father. It would begin the invasion angle of WCW and ECW onto WWE programming, and a feud that will last until late 2001. Still, this is a moment no one ever thought they would see. Number 1. Mankind becomes WWE Champion. Mick Foley never seemed like a world champion. In WCW as Cactus Jack, Foley was extreme, but could not keep up with the megastars being brought into the company. In WWE, Mankind was born, and some captivating rivalries surfaced. Foley was a workhorse and did whatever they asked from him, often sacrificing his body to stand out from the crowd. He would become a huge fan favourite, and the fans would get their wish when Mick Foley was to be crowned world champion in WWE to begin 1999. WCW knew this would happen, as the episode of Raw had been taped beforehand to help the travel around the holidays. WCW knew the spoilers and told their viewers in an attempt to not have people change the channel. As Buff Bagwell and Scott Steiner were on television for WCW, they announced yet again that Foley was going to win the title over on WWE Raw. Over 600,000 people took the hint and changed the channel to watch Mick Foley win the title. It helped WWE win the ratings. They would never lose again to WCW after that, effectively winning the Monday Night Wars. WCW shot themselves in the foot with this, and it could never happen again in today's wrestling world. Shows that are already taped are spoiled in real time and can be found on the internet easily. But even back then, seeing Mick Foley become a world champion, even with a spoiled ending, was exciting enough for fans, even receiving one of the loudest pops ever after Stone Cold Steve Austin came out for the assist. A moment fans still go back and watch to this day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling content.